ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the Alburnett City Council meeting for Thursday, November 12th, 2020 at 7 p.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. I do want to thank everybody for recognizing our procedures this evening, for safety procedures, for having our masks on. We'll talk a little bit more about that, of what's taking place not only in Lynn County but here in the city of Alburnett, and some of the safety procedures that the council will make some decisions on this evening moving forward. So again, I have called the meeting to order. We're going to go ahead and do our Pledge of Allegiance. I'd ask that the members present stand and take the pledge with me. I'll go ahead and start us off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Go ahead and ask the clerk to take roll call to establish a quorum for this evening, please.
Councilor Trump.
Present.
Councilor Saracen. Present. Councilor Rosenberg.
Present.
Councilor Sean.
Present.
Let the record reflect that we do have one council member missing, but we do have a quorum to conduct business this evening. All right, I'd go ahead and ask for approval of the, clerk, do we have any changes to the agenda as submitted?
No change.
No changes. Then I'd ask for approval of the agenda as submitted. Moved by Saracen.
Second.
Second by Trump. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you. All right, I have the sheriff's report here. I see that we don't have a deputy sheriff present, but we can go ahead and come back to that if they show up. They could be busy this evening, so we'll move on to the mayor's report. I'm going to apologize in advance because I might be a little bit long this evening, but I'll try to cover my material as quickly as I can and get to the council reports. The first thing I want to talk about a little is the Veterans Day that we had for this month. I always appreciate our veterans here, not only in the city of Alburnett, but nationwide. So I do want to recognize those that have, in the past and present, that have served the United States. We do appreciate our veterans. And then secondly, I'll talk about the COVID and what we may be doing moving forward after that. Secondly, I just want to read off the correspondence. This is a letter that I'll be submitting this evening to the city of Alburnett, citizens, and the council. I'll just go ahead and read it for the record for those that watch us online. It's from me, and it states that, please accept my resignation as the mayor of the city of Alburnett, effective December 31st, 2020. It's been my honor and privilege to have served with such excellent members of council and city staff over the last 3 years. We've accomplished so many wonderful things, and I'm confident in this council's ability to achieve so many more. As I move on with my new duties in the Iowa legislature, I want to remind all of you that I will be a phone call away if the city of Alburnett should need anything. And I sign it most sincerely with my signature block. So if those of the public or any of you that have not heard, I was elected as representative for District 95 to the Iowa legislature, and I take office in January, and per the Iowa Code and Administrative Rules, I can't hold two political offices. So as of December 31st of this year, I will no longer be the mayor for the city of Alburnett, leaving the calendar year of 2021 unfilled with my mayor's seat. This is something that has occurred in the city of Alburnett before. We've had vacancies with different political positions before within the city of Alburnett. So with me being gone, Bethany is my mayor pro tem. You'll be taking over my duties as of January 1 and running things for the city. I would suggest, if I can give a recommendation for the council, that I would hope, if you're interested, that you would fulfill the rest of the period for mayor. I think you do a good job as pro tem. I don't know, are you interested in doing the mayor term for the last portion of the year?
It would be my intention.
Okay, if I could make a recommendation to not only the council people, but also the folks in town, I would highly suggest that you appoint Councilperson Saracen as from Mayor Pro Tem to the full mayor next year. I say that for two reasons. I think she's fully qualified to do an excellent job, but also If you choose not to appoint, then of course you'd have to go to special election, which in a year that you don't have anything but that on a ballot, it can be extremely expensive to do so. But either way, whether you have the option to appoint regardless, and you can go through that process and decide what you want to do as a council. So that would just be my only recommendation there. If you do so choose, then you know the procedures for filling back council seats and things like that, and I'll leave it at there. But anyway, I did want to just point that out, that I am resigning as of the end of the year, and we'll get through the council meeting this evening, and we'll decide what it's going to look like for the December council meeting. So, any questions about my resignation? Good. The last item I want to talk about. We've had an increase in COVID cases, not only within, like I said, Lynn County, but statewide and nationwide for that matter. As you can see, we're wearing our face masks this evening. I would just have the council be thinking about how we want to handle not only having access to City Hall, but we already have masks mandated now, but whether or not we want to look to close down City Hall until a vaccine is present for not only our healthcare workers and available to the public, but also if we should looking at doing our council meetings by Zoom again until the vaccine is readily available. I don't know when that's going to be, but looking at what's being put out not only by our media outlets, but also from some of our governmental outlets to us via email, it looks like it could be as soon as 60 or 90 days that some of the first folks will be getting that, and then maybe to the general public as early as April. So that's something that you could be thinking about, and I'll be happy to hear any of your comments when we get down to the council report. So anyway, that's my mayor's report and my comments. And we'll start from the left, Councilman Bosenberg.
No, just the fire station's looking good, so progressing on there, so.
Any comments or recommendations on the situation with COVID? As far as your keeping City Hall open or moving forward with regular meetings or virtual meetings?
No, we could probably go to virtual, you know.
Okay, very good. Councilman Shantz.
Guess I already don't have anything, as far as I'm concerned, I just assume we meet here, everybody mask up, like, I think we're separated enough, shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. Pro Tem.
I do want to say congratulations, Charlie. We wish you the best of luck. As far as COVID is concerned, just so everybody knows, Lynn County Public Health, it will be hosting weekly updates for the cities and partners such as EMA and others throughout the county, so I can attend to those. They're on Fridays, so the first one will be tomorrow. As for meetings in City Hall, I'm with Chester. I don't know if the Zoom was quite as effective, so I'd prefer if we could continue to meet in person. With that said, I'd take recommendation from staff as well on City Hall, but I would say we limit their exposure as much as possible. They do a lot for us, and they're single-threaded. So if we could, the mask mandate helps, but it's still pretty close quarters coming in that front door, so I would recommend we maybe close City Hall again.
Councilman Shaw.
I think I'd prefer to have meetings here while we're spread out. That'll be on a month-by-month basis though. As far as closing City Hall completely, I don't know if I'm in favor of that. I think the mask mandates are good. You may want to limit hours that people come in perhaps, but that's always subject to change.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Okay, then hearing all those comments, then we'll go ahead and move on to citizen comments. Here in the city of Alburnett, we do allow for citizen comments. There are two types. One is for agenda items, and one is for non-agenda items. The first type is agenda items. If you have any comments that you'd like to make about agenda items, you'll have up to 5 minutes to do so. Just state your name and address clearly for the record, and you can address council at this time. Is there anyone that would like to make any comments on agenda items? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to anyone that would have any comments on non-agenda items. Again, if you'd like to make any comments, just state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have up to 5 minutes to do so. Okay, hearing none, then we'll move past the comments section of the council meeting. We'll move on to item number 9, written reports. The first one is the fire department. We'll recognize Chief Graham at this time.
Right, we got a quote from Hyman Fire. We had a,
I have a separate item for you. I put you on the agenda.
Yeah, I believe your item B.
Sorry.
Any comments on your report?
We have your written report with us. Is there anything you'd like to add to your written report?
I was gonna ask about a Christmas tree.
I haven't located one yet.
Are we still planning on it?
Yeah.
I highly doubt. I mean, we'll probably just kind of go with them if it's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, and any help I could get locating one would be awesome with all the damage, you know,
Yeah.
it took out a lot of those larger pine trees, broke them off, so, I haven't been able to find one yet. I'm willing to put it up, but
Yeah.
The only thing I noted in your report, Chief, is that it sounds like you're gonna need a dumpster soon. Do you know when that will be?
Anytime, probably. I mean, we can start going through stuff and getting stuff ready. I mean,
Okay.
Are they
The
still
temporary
talking?
roll-off,
what's that?
the temporary roll-off,
Yeah.
you want size?
I'll talk with Brad Coates and we'll figure out
Okay.
something and see what the charges are. That's the company we used for the one that we had in the ratio, so.
Yes.
They might still be in high demand, so that's why I need to check into it, but I'm sure.
Yeah, and
when
I
we
mean,
get one-
whenever. I mean, we can.
Well, it's whenever you're ready. I wouldn't leave them there too long. I have some stuff I might wanna throw out. Well, that tends to happen if you leave them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, alright.
And then I wanna thank Guy. Last week they called you a couple times
Oh.
to drive a fire truck.
Yep.
He's around to help.
No problem. Glad to do it.
Steve, will you have any, sensitive records as part of that purge, or do you take all that with you? Any kind of medical records or anything that would need to be shredded versus thrown in the dumpster?
I don't know. We've
Okay.
been usually keeping everything in a binder. So since I've taken over, they've been in a binder. I don't know where previous stuff is.
Do you have to keep those though, or would you purge that stuff?
You probably get rid of them after some years.
So we might need to look at some kind of shredding process. Unless you wanna feed them through by hand, Danielle? No?
Okay.
Is that it, Chief?
Yep.
Alright, we'll go ahead and move on to item B, Public Works. Guy, we have, also have yours in the packet. We've had an opportunity to review it. Do you have anything you'd like to add to it?
No, I don't believe anything to be added.
Council, any questions for Public Works report? Alright, then we'll move on to item C, which is City Clerk's report. I've also had an opportunity to review this. Danielle, do you have anything you'd like to add to it?
I wanted to thank, Councilmember Trout and Councilmember Sarrazin for meeting with the township and I over the weekend. We, got the new 28E updated and signed. We got that filed with the Secretary of State this week, so that's all set and ready to go. And then I also want to congratulate Mayor McClintock on his win of the last election.
Thank you, appreciate that. It'll be a lot of work, but I'm looking forward to it, so and it's nice to still be able to work with you on some of those projects maybe over the next 2 years, see what we can do not only for the district, but also for Alburnett. The only thing I would say is that, it looks, the grant for $5,000 for the fire station project, always happy to see that, so.
Does that need to go towards anything in particular?
I don't believe so. They did ask, they gave us a specific way to use their name if we do any sort of recognition or whatnot. I have to give them a little more information so that they can submit the funding, but it was just to help with the project cost.
Council, any other questions for the clerk's report? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10, which is approval of the consent agenda. Are there any additions or changes to the consent agenda, clerk?
There are not.
There are not. Chester, are we good? We're good. Then, hearing none or no other changes, then we'll go ahead and seek a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Moved by Shawns, second by Bozenberg. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries, it's approved, thank you. Move on to item 11, which is our new business for this evening. The first item is a special event permit, this from the ACDC, this is the Diamond Club. A copy of this special permit is in your packet. It looks pretty straightforward, they're not looking to shut too much down. Remind everybody of the situation we're facing with COVID, but other than that, you can review that and be open to any discussion on this.
Did you want to speak something else?
So, my name's Ryan Young with the Alburnett Diamond Club. Pretty much all we were looking to do here, since we don't have our Santa Day as normally we would at the Historical Society, that it's closed, along with the fire department putting their tree up, we kind of just wanted to bring Santa there, from like 5 to 8 or something like that, and we would have him just set up under a tent, have some lights out in front. Obviously the kids wouldn't be able to go up to Santa, they could stand maybe out in front of him, take some pictures if they wanted to, just kind of keep them distance away. And we would hand out like our goodie bags that we always did at Santa Day, with, obviously with their gloves on and everything like that. We'd have them pre-packaged, good to go like that. Trying to think, we would have maybe a station set up that the kids could write their notes to Santa and hand them in, and that way there's no real contact with Santa or anything like that. It would just be something that the kids, see Santa in town, kind of get a picture from a distance with them, kind of thing.
I apologize for not recognizing you also officially for the, for one thing, I take these off so they don't fog up and I can't half see, Maybe you could have been going like this and I wouldn't have known, so again, sorry about that. Okay, questions about the event permit, comments or? No? Okay, well then, if there's no other questions or comments, then seek a motion for approval. Moved by Trum for approval of the application for special event permit for Diamond Club, second by Shantz. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion carries. You're good to go, sir. Thank you. Okay, then we'll go ahead and move on to item number B. This is the fire chief again, so, all right, go ahead.
Now. We had a grain dryer fire the day. We broke one of our pike poles. I want to replace it with 2, and it's a little different style, and they're $133 a piece for $266. And then on 134, the valve for like the hydrants and stuff, the water's just eating away the valve. We need to replace it. It's leaking. And with this suck water, will draw air. That's $1,450 towards the bottom there. So total of $1,716 for the massive for. The other is just, I got maybe budgetary items for next time. So that's kind of pricey.
Next month or
Next
budget season?
Next budget season, probably.
Okay.
Our thermal insurers, we gotta like smack it, make it work, it's getting bad. But they're $8,000. But you do get a $1,000 credit if it turns on. But
Yeah, right, but there's also total, so.
there's 2 or 3 different cameras,
It adds up to be.
and then I'd like to look at a porta tank down in the future too.
We were aware that some of the granting funds, some of the grant funds pay for like the cameras and stuff, so I don't know if that tank would qualify as well, but we could look into getting maybe some grant funding.
Yeah. It's just.
If it's on like an
Yeah.
immediate need.
No, he was just there and we were
Yeah.
talking about it, and like, give me some numbers so I have an idea. And I'd go to more companies than just that one for a camera. I mean, there's just one guy.
So your total request is 1716?
Yep.
Questions for the fire chief?
One time we asked for a complete inventory of what you had out there for budgetary purposes. Have you supplied that yet?
We started, and she has a list, and I told her I'd get the rest when we went clean through stuff so we know
Exactly what you got.
what we have and what we're taking. So as soon as we start going through stuff, we can start inventorying everything we have.
That's, very good, thank
So
you,
yeah,
thank you.
Other questions for the fire chief? Alright. Then, we do a simple motion on this. Do we have a motion to approve him for, his, looks like 2 items and then the 1450 item for a total of 1716?
So moved.
Moved by Saracen,
Second.
second by Trum. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. You go ahead and take care of the order then, Chief. Okay, alright. Move on to item C. This is generator maintenance quote. We'll go ahead and recognize Public Works Director for this.
We've been using Altorfer Cat to service the generators for, I think it was 2 3-year periods now. And they sent off, after they got the maintenance done this fall, they fired off a renewal letter. And as you can see, the 2 are in your packet. They have jumped significantly. They jumped fairly significantly in price the last time before when we signed a 3-year deal with them. So I did a little checking. We don't necessarily need to approve any, but Hawkeye Electric submitted a bid that is nearly half of what Altorfer has done for the same service. And I have not received a quote from 3E as of yet. I just wanted to bring you up to date, but I feel like we should dig a little deeper before we just sign back with Altorfer again. They did a good job, but half the money to do the maintenance from Hawkeye, so.
You're seeking a 3-year contract?
Yeah, it seems to work the best, and you just don't have to worry about it. You're not out there getting a quote every year, and the techs get familiar with your generators that way too. So if something happens in the middle of the period, they can just come and they know what they need. So, better than doing it year to year. And I would not even ask for a motion tonight to go with them, just pointing out the difference, and I'll probably bring you 3 solid quotes in December. Once I get the quote back. I was hoping to get the quote from 3E back in time, but it didn't come, so.
I assume these people are comparable to Altorfer.
Yeah, I believe so. There's no reason that they shouldn't be. 3E services the generator for the school, so they're in town once a year doing that too, so I thought it'd be nice to hear from them. You know, if we could sync up and save some travel money, maybe they might have a good quote as well. And that's all 3E does is generators. They don't work on anything else. Altorfer is obviously the Caterpillar dealer, so they're got their fingers in everything. And I'm not saying they did a bad job at all. Just when you look at those costs, it's a lot of money. So.
Well, this seems like low bid unless you have your other quotes. Do you think it's gonna be lower?
I doubt it, I really do, but I haven't seen it yet either, so I really don't know.
Okay, all
I
right.
mean, we could, if you really wanted to just latch onto that Hawkeye bid, I guess I'm okay with that.
What's the pleasure, council?
We just, the maintenance has just been done, so we don't need to be in a rush.
So there's no rush.
There really
Wait
isn't
for
a rush.
Wait for the quote.
Altorfer's putting the pressure on, but I'll just say, no, we're thinking it's over, so.
So you want no action in the?
No, I don't think so. Do
Okay.
you have a quote from that other company then?
No,
Okay.
that's
Well,
fine,
you
yeah.
can't really do anything with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so no action tonight. You'll go ahead and get that. You'll add this to the agenda, Danielle, for next month, please. All right, thank you. Okay, move on to item D. This is the employee health dental insurance renewal. If you go ahead and take a look at this, you'll see it's in your packet. We've taken a look at this. It's a 14% increase from this year to next year. The current expenses, if I'm reading this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but it looks like the current expense is $1,111.73.
Yeah, that's the city's portion of the criminal.
And with the increase for next year, it's gone up to $1,261.55.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what it is for the annual renewal. I think there was some discussion that we were looking at potentially adding vision, which was something we talked about for employees maybe in the handbook. I know we're not done with the handbook. I don't see that on here though. Is that something that the council was still interested in doing? I'm asking the council.
I would be interested in providing a full package, yes.
I did get the quotes for vision, they're a little bit, cumbersome to try to explain because they had 3 different companies and then it depended on how many employees were, on board with it, but there was a basic package and roughly $8 to $15 a month per employee, so I can get you that information if you don't want to decide tonight. We'll look at it more.
But that's up to council, if they wanna continue with the vision thing, let me, we've seen increases like this before, is this gonna be an issue with budget? Chester?
No, we should be okay, we plugged in more, but I don't remember what percent we used. But we should be able to, it isn't this much really. We should be able to find the money someplace.
Council, any concerns with the increase? I don't think the city's prepared to move away from Wellmark, are we? Okay. And then how do you wanna handle vision? You wanna pursue additional costs on that and bring that to us later, or?
I assume we need to take action on this soon.
Yeah, just.
You need the renewal tonight.
The renewal for the health insurance.
Okay, so we want a motion on the renewal tonight, and then you
I
want
would like to
something else on
Pursue
vision?
vision, yes.
All right, let's handle vision separately then. And then, okay, so can we go ahead and get a motion this evening for the amount of $1,261.55. Again, that's a monthly expense with it, that's the 14% increase on that. Can I get a motion
So moved.
for the annual renewal?
Yeah,
Moved by
renewal.
Bozenberg, yes. Second by Trump. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not a resolution though. Yes, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries. Okay, and then is the council okay with getting a vision quote and bringing back to be looked at as well? For next month, maybe?
That's fine.
And that, what you said was just what,
$15.
15 to something?
Yeah, it kind of depends on which one you go with. It's a relatively small amount per month for
I would say it's not
employees.
gonna be very much. I think that's what mine was, like
Yeah.
$15 a month.
It is, it just depends on which one you go with, and we have like a, oh gosh, I can't remember, a new and improved plan, and a tried and true plan, and she was explaining in the phone, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to explain all this.
Okay. But you
Tonight.
can like that information, bring it back?
Yep.
If that's not a December thing, you'll take it from there. All right, very good, thank you. All right, that takes care of the annual renewal for the medical. Item number E is the annual financial report FY20. It is in your packet. I'll turn this over to the clerk for explanation.
This is just a report that's due December 1st, and it gives all the details on the revenues and expenditures from FY20, which ended in July. So we basically took our ending balance from FY19, put in the revenues and expenditures in all the different fund categories, and then it gives us the ending balance, and then we categorize it based upon the different fund types. So that's all in there for you. It's a mandatory report that's required each year.
Yeah, you can do it at the end of the year, I think. Do by the end of the year. I'll recognize everybody if they have questions, but I'll start with Chester from financial.
Well, I just think I'm glad instead of just getting a summary, we got the whole packet. So you can see where our revenue came in and our expenses, rather than just a summary like we had in the past. I guess to tell you the truth, there's more work to this than what I thought. Danielle has spent a lot of effort putting this together.
I won't tell you that the first time I did it, I forgot to hit save and it all went away. I had to do
So
it
you
again,
got,
which is really
got a lot of practice.
good. Yeah, good learning experience.
Should've went faster then.
Councilman Rosenberg, any questions on the annual report?
No, looks good.
Nope. All right, very good. Thank you for putting that together. You don't need, do you need a motion on it?
To approve.
You do need a motion to approve?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Can I get a motion to approve the report as submitted, please?
So,
Moved by Saracen,
Second.
Second by Trump, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion carries, thank you. Move on to item G, the annual tip. No, I need to move on to the urban renewal report. This is also you, Danielle.
Yes, this is another annual report that's required since we do have an urban renewal area and we receive TIF funding for that area. I had some help with this because we have some interesting history with all of our TIF districts that we used to have that are no longer in service. But basically it just gives a breakdown of the urban renewal area that we have, the funding that we receive from Lynn County for that incremental tax funding. And then what we used it for, which was we used it for a portion of one of our bond payments. So we received $38,100 in TIF revenue, and then we had expenses of $37,625. And so that is that report. And to tie in with the next item, we'll need a motion to approve this, but for the TIF certification, that goes to the county. It's required as well to receive that TIF funding. We had an excess of TIF funding. We had a balance in our TIF fund, and we don't need all the funding that we currently have. So in FY21, we are not going to be requesting any TIF funding, which is what we did for this year as well, since we had a surplus of funds left in that account, if that makes sense.
Okay. Questions on the report? I'm sorry, the TIF certification. Okay, hearing none, we'll also need a motion on this for approval.
You do a motion for the urban renewal report and then a second motion for the TIF certification.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I jumped, sorry.
I'm moving ahead then. All right, so we'll need a motion for the urban renewal.
So moved.
Moved by Sean
Second.
and second by Saracen. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now we'll do the TIF report. Sorry, you kind of
No,
combined.
I'm sorry, I jumped.
All
And
right.
again, this is just a report that's required to show how much TIF we're requesting. We're not requesting any, but it's still a required report.
Any question on the annual TIF certification? All right, I need a motion for that as well. Moved by Saracen, second by Trump. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries as well. All right, we're good with all the annuals there?
Yes.
Very good. All right, now we'll move on to resolution 11-2020-01, a resolution for the reduction of interest rate for the water revenue bond. This is in your report as well. I'm sure you've had an opportunity to review it. I've reviewed it, and I think I'm reading it correctly, that this is actually good news.
It is good news.
So, we don't get many of these that are reductions. I'll go ahead and have you explain it though, since you're the one that put it together, and hopefully I read it right.
Yeah, we received notification that the interest rate on our SRF water revenue bond is decreasing from 3% to, I believe, 1.75%. And there's a copy of the new debt schedule, should be in your packet, and it just shows the new breakdown of interest with that decrease. So yes, it is a good thing, and we just need to do a resolution to approve that, which was provided to us by Dorsey and Whitney. So that is resolution 11-2020-01.
Well, since it's touching money, but even in a good way, we'll do it by roll, but can I get a motion first, please?
So moved.
Moved by Sean, second by Trum. Any discussion on this? All right, can I get it by roll call, please?
Counselor Trump?
Aye.
Counselor Sargent? Aye. Counselor Sean?
Aye.
Counselor Rosenberg?
Aye.
Very good. Let the record reflect that it passed with a one absent. Thank you. All right, I'll get that signed for you here shortly. Item I, the Kuzner proposal. This is for the asphalt. This is for a total of $3,981.25. This is one of those mid-council meeting ones that we had to do. It's part of the fire station project. This is for the entryway portion of it. I'll explain it in a minute. This is one of those things that actually the next two items are one of those things where council in the past would give some approval to Public Works under his management authority to the fire station, where we had said that you could, I think we set up to 10,000, maybe 5,000, either way, it's still within what you needed to do to be able to run the project. He did ask me about it. I said it wasn't an issue, with the understanding that it had to be brought back before council. There was no way to get into the fire station otherwise, to get in there and continue to work, but go ahead if you want to explain it.
Basically, the plan did not allow for meeting the concrete to the street that is there, knowing that we have intentions of overlaying the street. If we were just meeting the street, they would have brought the concrete all the way out to the street as it sits. So there'll be less concrete in the project because we stopped the concrete short in order to use this asphalt patch to blend from the concrete to the street, knowing that we plan on hopefully overlaying Roosevelt Street in the spring, as soon as we can. And so if we'd have brought the concrete all the way out, the concrete would have been at the wrong height and would have had to be ground back or torn out, or just made more sense to stop the concrete short using the asphalt patch. That's what it boiled down to. So $3,981 or whatever it was.
That'll show on claims next month.
And they showed up, they told me it'd be Friday. I was actually thinking this will be great, we can approve this at the council meeting, but they had a project that they couldn't go to and they had trucks loaded with asphalt, so they came Wednesday and did it, which was fine with me because it just got done, so.
So this is one of those things where it's on here for transparency, but it is something that, I approved it. You can certainly change that policy later, but again, it was something we talked about as far as a fire department project, that you had to have some latitude to be able to get things done. We'll go ahead and, questions about it?
How's your bank account? Can you stand this?
Well, as we talked about these two items, I did say, because they're gonna come up next month for approval, I did say if the council gets too bent about it, they can change the way it's done, and then they can blame me in January. So, go ahead, Chester, anything else?
No, I think go ahead. We have to do it.
It was, like I say, the gap was this big to try to get in there. I don't think it could have done it without any in there. The second item is the bulldozer rental, and it's a smaller expense, $790 for the day, which was still within your regular approval ratings. But anyway, go ahead and explain what you used it for, please.
It became pretty apparent that there was going to be a water drainage issue on the west side of the fire station. All that filter we took from the whole project was there in case we needed it. We didn't need very much of it. It was holding water and trapping water against the west end of the building. Also, if we're going to go off of the parking lot to well 3, so we can eliminate the driveway to well 3 that always backs up and floods that area when it rains hard. A lot of that dirt had to be moved, and also if we ever find a home for that fill dirt, it's multiple times easier on a storage pile, to put an excavator on it and load out trucks that way versus trying to dig into a pile and load trucks with dirt scattered all over the place. I checked on several sources, got the cheapest dozer I could get, and got it all pushed up into a neat storage pile that also makes the whole area look better, in my opinion, so we don't have this random multi-level dirt pile out there west of the fire station. And I'm working in some of our multitude of compost that we have created due to all of our storm damage, so we should be able to get some decent grass growing west of the station too come spring, as soon as we can get it seeded. So I just felt like it was a needed item, and I may have worked a little hard on making sure it might be a good sledding hill for this winter, maybe.
That's what I thought.
If anybody wants to, but
I'm just waiting for the kids to be out there once.
yeah. So just felt like it totally improved the drainage. We got the water from the backside of the property now flowing out to the ditch out front, where it couldn't get there before because this water was pooled up, and also against the west end of the fire station. So
Jan, you'll add that to claims for next month, Daniel? All right, very good, thank you. That takes us into old business item number A, City of Alburnett Capital Improvement Plan from I'm gonna try here, Eastern something Iowa, something of,
East Central Iowa Council of Governments.
Council of Governments, there we go. Oh, it was right here, I could have read it off here. Never mind, I wouldn't have had to guess. Okay, I believe this was one of your items from last month
Danielle brought it, but
for,
we had
okay,
spoken about it.
I wasn't here, so for CIP, I guess,
We have-
I'm familiar with,
We have representatives.
oh, I'm sorry, here you are, okay,
Hi.
go ahead. Again, I can't see. Go ahead.
Being a fellow glasswearer, I completely understand.
Okay,
I'm just gonna step forward a little bit because my voice doesn't project super well and I wanna make sure that you can hear me.
sure.
So I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with our proposal, or if they are, okay.
I believe so, we had it in the packet, was it last month?
Okay.
We decided to go ahead with it to do the capital improvement plan.
So my name is Karen Kurt and I'm the Executive Director of the East Central Iowa Council of Governments, and we affectionately refer to it as ECCOG. And just a little bit about ECCOG, we're actually a government entity. There are COGs that represent all of the counties throughout the state of Iowa. We were created by Lynn, Johnson, Jones, Benton, Iowa, and Washington counties. And we're funded in part, a small part through county assessments, and then we earn the rest of our revenue through services that we provide and grants that we help manage. But I want to point that out just so you know, we're created by government to serve you, and we are not a for-profit entity. We were actually, came in to meet with Guy and Danielle here to talk a little bit about the services that we provide. And we actually do a lot of things. And if you look to, I'm actually buzzing right through this, slide 4. We do a lot of different things at ECCOG. Part of our role is to help you leverage state and federal resources. So part of what we do is help write and manage grants for particularly the rural communities in our region. We work on promoting regional collaboration and planning for the future. So we do the transportation plan for the rural portion of our region. We do the economic development plan for our entire region. We do a lot of watershed district planning. And then we also share technical skills and try and help where smaller communities may not have the staff they need to be able to do certain things. And so what we're proposing to do for you is in part sharing some technical skills and helping to support your staff. And if you want to go to the next one there, we work in a lot of different areas. So we do a lot of work in community development, we do comprehensive planning, downtown revitalization grants, environmental services. I already mentioned the watershed work. We write a lot of grants for water sewer improvements. Housing, we manage the East Central Iowa Housing Trust Fund and the Lynn County Housing Trust Funds. We do a lot of grants for housing rehabilitation and first-time home buyer assistance. Transportation, I had mentioned before that we do the transportation planning, and we also manage the corridor ride system, including the dial-a ride service that you have here. And then lastly, something that people don't often realize about us is that we actually have a loan program, and we provide gap financing to businesses that are looking to start or grow their operations. So please check out our website, and feel free to contact me directly or contact me through Danielle if there's any questions you have about any of our services other than what we're talking about here today. And so for the city of Alburnett, and I have to tell you, I love your logo and tagline. I think it's really nice. We had proposed that we were going to do a 5-year capital improvement plan. And as long as we were doing that, we would do maybe a 2-year set of council goals. And we called the CIP, or capital improvement plan, a pilot project. That means that basically we were doing this at no cost. We were just charging a nominal fee. I think it was $100 just to help with our travel. And because it's the first time we've done it as an ECCOG service. Now, I used to be a city manager, so I've done lots of capital improvement plans, but this is a new service for ECCOG. So we're going to be learning and refining our process as we work with you. And I can tell you that for us, part of what we'll be learning is kind of how to scale things to a community your size. The community where I was city manager had 12,000 people, and then I worked previously in suburbs, and it's a little bit of a different animal, so kind of figuring out how to scale that back. And for us, we really believe that, that it's good for cities to have what we call kind of these building blocks to help support their overall performance system. And so that as leadership changes, such as the mayor moving to the State House, or changes in staff occur, that you have a lot of continuity and consistently, and you're kind of staying focused on your long-range vision. So in our minds, your comprehensive plan is a pivotal document, and certainly for a community like yours, where you're poised for more growth just because of where you're located. But also the capital improvement plan is another really important document to kind of make sure that you're planning for the future. And then we see the council goals in your annual budget is kind of taking that vision and translating it from the goal level to the more tactical level. And so we're hoping that we'll help you kind of build this framework for your community. And just moving forward then, I don't know how familiar you are with capital improvement plans, but basically a capital improvement plan is sort of a 5-year look forward for capital items. And the goal is to basically sort of align what you want to do each year and what the sources of funding would be for those items. And with respect to what is a capital items are typically one-time expenditures. They're usually physical improvements, so it can be a new building, such as your fire station. It can be a road reconstruction project. It could be improvements to just maintenance items, like you need to replace your roof on this building. It can be equipment. It can be acquisition of land. But they're one-time expenses. Usually they have a life of multiple years. And here we put a cost of $3,000 or more. That would be something where we might need your feedback on that. I know the communities I work to, it would have been $10,000 or more, but again, we're trying to scale it back a little bit, recognizing that you're quite a bit smaller. And so in terms of the value of the capital improvement plan, basically it's designed to really help you think about what you need to be doing in the future, put together a schedule for that, and then to hopefully avoid the unpredictable expense, and then also to be able to level out the tax situation for your residents. And the goal setting aligns really well with it. It's kind of the same principle. We used our little Hawkeye analogy here, but right, you're trying to march the ball down the field. Each council that comes into their position. So how are you going to work together as a group for the next 2 years to kind of take the ball down the field to what it is you want to achieve? And so with the goal setting, we're really looking at what you want to do, when you want to do it, and who's going to be the champion for that, or who's going to be kind of the point person for that project. And some of your goals might be related to capital improvement projects, but some of them might not be. You can have goals related to your city code. You might have a new program you want to get off the ground, something related to a new employee handbook. There can be goals that aren't capital improvement items. And so with respect to our process, I'm here tonight to do the project introduction. I had vacillated on whether or not I was going to come, and last left it I was going to do it by phone, but I really couldn't help not coming because I'm a total local government geek, and so I really felt I had to see you in person. So we're introducing the project. We've got a homework assignment for you that we're going to kind of do old school with paper, and that's going to help us with some of our initial information gathering. And then we will convene a meeting, either at one of your regularly scheduled meeting or a separate meeting, whatever works best, and I'll ask Danielle to kind of work with you to coordinate that, to do some prioritization based on the feedback that we get through kind of the brainstorming that we get from each of you individually. We'll take that input, we'll work to draft your CIP and also to kind of draft a goal document. And then we'll come back, get your feedback on that, make any refinements that we need to, and then hopefully get it approved here. And I adjusted the schedule slightly just in recognition of some of the changes in our environment. It might slow things down, but I right now have it tentatively scheduled for approval in February. So with that, I do have this homework assignment, and I'm sure you're probably not used to people giving you assignments, but this again is just helpful for us to sort of start to get ideas about what's on your radar, and we'll be working with staff as well to get this feedback, and I would ask staff to complete this as well. So if you look at that homework assignment, we're going to ask you about the 3 to 5 things that you really think makes Alburnett special. And I have to tell you, the thing that people are always going to want to say is it's the people, that everybody says that. So I'm going to challenge you to think a little bit deeper than that, even though I know that relationships are part of what binds us to our community. And I have no question that the people here are wonderful. I can tell that just by sitting in your meeting, actually. Then the next couple of questions have to do with any opportunities or challenges you see in the external environment. And when we think of the external environment, we're thinking about things that are outside of our control. COVID has certainly thrown a challenge at us that we had no control over, that we might want to be thinking about as we're planning for the future. Sometimes it might be something happening in the legal environment. It could be something, could be any number of things, but just, if you would mind, spend a moment thinking about what those things might be. And then we're looking to get any items that you have in progress that we might want to capture in the plan. And then we ask about any goals that you think the city should have as you're looking forward for the next couple of years. And then on the next page, we actually ask about specific CIP projects in different areas. Streets and infrastructure, utilities, buildings, recreation facilities, equipment, anything we didn't think of. So this is just a brainstorm. You know, if it crosses your mind and you think it's a possibility, I would encourage you just to write it down. We'll be gathering everybody's input and kind of putting it into a big pot and sorting it out. If you know the amount of that item, please jot it down, but I understand that you may not know the cost of many of these items, and that will be part of what we'll be working on. And then the last item on the homework was just, I would consider my service on city council successful if, and just to fill in that blank. And I just want to say we're really excited to work on this project, and I hope it's fun for you too.
Karen, I do have a couple questions before I get to that. Can we recognize the deputy real quick so we
Yes,
get back on
sorry.
the road? It'll take just a moment,
No worries.
and then I'll get to the questions for myself and council. Thank you, sir.
Like required 43, put in 110. 28 call stars.
You?
You get a lot.
Okay, we have the report in front of us. I wouldn't mind seeing some more code Lincolns on those kids that keeps getting into our cars. You know, if you could get some of them, some of those. How's that going, by the way, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably won't see code Lincoln on that.
All right, well,
Detention won't take them.
keep trying. You take them somewhere then. Do what you gotta do. But we do appreciate your efforts, and we certainly appreciate 110 hours. Any questions for the Deputy Sheriff? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Be safe.
Thanks.
All right, back to Karen. Go ahead. Questions from council first, please. Oh, sorry.
When you were here before, you talked about writing a grant for a generator for the fire station in the well. Any activity on that at all?
No, we haven't started that, but we'll get to it. Yeah.
I just was asking, because that's one thing I think that we could use.
We had talked about how, because we had initially invited them here to discuss how they could help us in the pursuing of grants and funding in that way. And we talked through how this capital improvement plan will help us show what finding what grants can help us fill those needs.
I know I was here.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to remind you.
So and our specialty is really state and federal grants. So we did forward some grant opportunities that we thought might work for the fire station. And we'll help as we can. I think you've been in contact with some of our staff, so yeah.
Thank you.
So what does the process look like once we get past the homework? I know you mentioned some meetings. Is that a full council? Are we better to have a small working group and then bring it back to council? How do you usually handle that?
Usually it's one more sort of intense meeting. And it's with the full council, where we kind of go through the prioritization process. And then depending on how that comes out, I think there'll probably be one more meeting where there needs to be some discussion with respect to kind of the draft that comes forward. But usually it's done as a group.
Do you want me to just take your homework and fill it out for you?
I work for the city of Cedar Rapids, so we're also larger scale, for not only capital equipment, but for CIP over 5 years. They've done 10 before, but usually 5 year, and it's larger projects, generally projects that would take over a year, kind of fall in that category, and then also budgetarily, because there's so many different divisions, they like to know all that of what CIP is gonna look like, so we can kind of plan our budgetary items around stuff like that. Like you said, it's a scaled down version for our CIP, but do you guys kind of already have, you've done a lot of homework here, you already kind of have a vision a little bit of what would fit for Alburnett?
I think in general, so we're, we aren't experts on Alburnett. So I think our role is really to help with the process and to help pull it together and to really act as staff in a way.
Sure.
So I don't know that the process, is all that different, whether you're Cedar Rapids or you're here. It's just the number of layers and the number of sources that are feeding information into it is just much reduced.
Okay.
Reduced here.
I will do my homework. I've got another month and a half, so I might cheat a little bit, but I will do my homework. Other questions for Karen? Well, very good. Well, thank you for joining us in person, so we appreciate it. I know it can be difficult sometimes with everything going on in the world, but it does make a...
I know it
does
does. I know it does. I really want to meet you too.
Do you want
Zoom can be
the
clunky.
homework submitted back to you prior to the next meeting?
Oh, thank you. We had put November 30th to have the homework back. So you can either email that to me or you can give it to Danielle and she will get it to me.
Thank you.
And I may ask her to send out a little reminder.
Sure. That's probably a good idea.
Or maybe just put that on your calendar.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. All right, well, very good. Thank you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and move on to 12B, which is the recodification and where we're at with that process. We'll go ahead and recognize clerk.
No, recognize Dr. Saracen.
I'll pass this
Oh,
on.
sorry.
It's okay. So I've been working with staff. We got questions back from the consultant that we hired to help us with the recodification. We've gone through those. So we will be submitting our answers back to them. And then our request at that point is to receive a document with changes tracked so that you all can go through that quickly and see the changes we made. Nothing substantial, a lot of clarifications, a lot of codes have changed and we're just, up to current. But there have been a few that we've made some adjustments to, so I'll have everyone review that when we get it back. And I anticipate further questions from them after this first round.
Very good. I'm glad to see that done. It was one of the goals that I looked at when becoming mayor, and obviously some of my stuff I ain't gonna get around that I wanted to see done. I appreciate all the work that you're doing with it. It's an important aspect of what we needed to accomplish. And I know it's a long, tedious, and can be expensive endeavor, and I know not only you, but everybody's put a lot of effort into that, so I'm glad to see that.
Absolutely. Staff was great answering all of my questions in addition to all of the consultants' questions, so appreciate their time.
Great. Questions on the recodification process?
Thank you, because it's a big job. I know I've been through it once.
Yeah, and we won't finalize anything. We'll make sure you get to see those changes.
we'll move on to item C, the fire station, project update. We can talk about the ribbon cutting or any change orders. I believe we do have one change order to talk about, or maybe we can touch on the memorial out there, or any of those items, or any questions you may have. We'll go ahead and start with the project manager guy.
Yeah, everything's going fine. There's always little ripples, but nothing major. If you haven't been out there or looked at the pictures online, interior painting is not done, but substantially done. So that tells you what kind of shape the walls are on in the meeting room area. HVAC has been back and done ductwork. They were putting in suspended ceiling today. Electricians are on site. They're cutting out the power at the well house tomorrow to hook up the service. So hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, there'll be power in the building. So they'll have some circuits hot so they can have, plug-in and lights inside. Right now, they're still running off a extension cord off the temporary service. Doors are being hung. Obviously the overhead doors are in, but a little bit of hardware needs to go on yet in openers, but that's, just rolling with punches. Everything is progressing fine. The concrete is completely done. We did add the change order will be for additional driveway width, and how that came about was during the problems that we had with grading, which I'm not positive now if you all knew about it, but we did not have near enough rock. And we found it out, and so the excavator had to come back and redo it, which he did. But in the process of finding out that there wasn't enough rock in the grade, he pushed off some of the rock that was there into the ditch area by the west driveway. And we have an abundance of culvert because the culvert was originally planned to be too far west, so it all got moved east. And there was already 2 feet of rock in there, and so we basically added 6 more inches of rock and compacted it and added 20 feet worth of driveway to the west driveway. It made more sense than excavating out rock out of the ditch to be able to put black dirt back in it and then have to shape it down to the top of the culvert that was way extended past the driveway, and then have to taper the ditch back down to the bottom of the ditch to match. Everybody on site just felt like that was, in the long run, a cheaper actual option than having to go back. The excavator has been a problem. We dug test holes. We know we don't have enough rock in certain areas, but we did roll test it with a loaded dump truck, and it held up. I've got videos of the dump truck, so we should see a reduction in the amount of rock cost overall, and that was another part of the discussion putting the extra concrete in, was the fact that we didn't get enough rock in the first place, so some of that cost of the extra concrete will be alleviated. We're going from a 26-foot wide driveway now to a 46-foot wide driveway. I just couldn't see where it was a bad move in any way, shape, and form, especially when basically the grade was already made from the rock that got placed in that ditch. That work's all complete and done. Change orders coming down the pike. I believe it was, I can't remember, between $6,000 or $7,000 of concrete. So, and I don't think we'll ever be sorry that we had a wider driveway there. Other than that, the excavator moved in equipment today to start working on finish grade outside of the concrete, and everything's going as it should. Contractor's still saying he should be done on time, which I believe the date was December 23rd. From what I see, it could be done sooner than that, but you never know, So, any questions?
Danielle, anything to add?
No, I just had the ribbon cutting on here. I wasn't sure what the timeline looked like as far as when the project is completed and then when we wanted to do something to have the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then also thinking about potentially an open house where citizens could go in and walk around the building.
Chief Graham, what do you think?
I'd say wait, get rib cut until after New Year. We got Christmas, and everything moved. I think we better wait till after the first.
did everybody have in mind? Is it ribbon cutting
Yeah,
as, before they start moving in? Is it ribbon cutting after they've already moved in, or what's the appropriate?
I mean, you're gonna want the public to be able to look at a little bit of the building on the ribbon cutting, right? I mean, you're gonna,
Well, yeah, that's what was my initial thought, but when Steve said something, you know, if you got the fire station fully equipped, ready to go, that'd be a good time to have an open house.
you know, they're gonna wanna see what they
Yeah.
paid for. So I think it's gonna have to be done and at least semi-moved in. Your vehicles are gonna have to be in there, clean, ready to go. And I mean, you don't have to have everything in there, but enough
Yeah.
that it looks installed property, furnished.
Yep.
So it could be January or Feb, I guess, I don't know.
You know, I mean, if.
we can wait till next month and see if they're really predicting.
That's just it, you know, when you think about it, 1 month from today, our next council meeting, there's a lot can happen. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, when power goes in that building, then the HVAC comes back and sets all of the heating units and the, you know, if the painters are already, say, 80% done, surely in a couple weeks they'll be completely done with painting. And there's other little things like the steel crew has to come back and finish the ceiling and the liner in the apparatus bay, but that's probably a 1-day job for them to finish. There's probably a half a day for the insulation to finish getting blown into the ceiling in the apparatus bay. There's a little, the gutter people are so far behind, we may not have gutters on that building until spring. That may be one thing. They're trying, but they can't promise they'll get the rain gutter people here. That's the one hang up we know of right now that may stop the project from being 100% complete on that December 23rd date or sooner. But then again, they told us the overhead door people were gonna be 30 days out, and they showed up the day after we were told that. So, who knows?
So how long would you anticipate it takes to move out there once it's finished?
Probably a couple weekends. That's why I kinda wanna get going through stuff so that we have a place and we can just move it out and place it where we want when it's time.
Okay.
I mean, we're ordering shelves and gear rack, so we're getting stuff coming for our end, but
Yeah, now would be the
we'll have
time
to
for
set
you
up, we'll have to take a weekend
clean
and set
everything and
everything
put
up.
inventory control.
Yeah, get that dumpster in here.
I'll work on that, maybe even in the morning, finding out what availability is and,
Yeah.
okay.
We do have a couple of bike poles that were donated. I don't know if we wanna use them out there, like in the island or somewhere, or.
I think there isn't.
There's a
Isn't there one
mock-up,
planned?
there's a mock-up there if you wanna follow that as far as the landscaping, the flagpole, I think with electronic sign, you're talking in that area?
Yeah,
And then if you want some benches and stuff like that, we can,
we talked about putting a sign up between the two driveways, but we forgot
Yeah,
to
no.
run electricity.
No, there's
there's
conduit there.
conduit for that, I
Oh.
believe.
Yeah, no, we got it bored in.
Oh, you're the.
I don't think we
Yeah.
decided on an electronic signage for out there yet, but
It's, what they did was when we decided we were getting the power from the well house 3, he brought his boring machine to do that because of the mountain of fill dirt. And so then, rather than dig in, trench in the power over to where a sign might go, he bored it in. And since he was boring, it was easy to put 2. So there's a one to carry the electric and one to carry data. And so you don't have to use it. If you put up a sign and you don't go electronic, that's fine, and you decide in a few years you go electronic sign, then the data conduit is there to do that, so.
if you want it electronic, you better do it now.
Probably, yes, but so it's ready, yeah, I mean, it's ready, but you do have the option of going either way. And also, it doesn't really show on that picture, but there is a street lamp type, a light that goes out towards the end of that green space to shine on those parking spots.
Yeah, I have security cameras at my house. The better the light, the better your images. So I know we talked about putting security cameras all around that facility. I suggest you have as much lighting as possible.
Well, I'm excited to see the lights that are hanging on the building because the area lights look awesome, but those floods that they put up,
Yeah.
man, they should just absolutely illuminate everything, so. Not that they'll be on all the time, cause those will be just on a switch if they are working on stuff outside, but there are a ton of lights on that building, a ton.
I won't be here when that facility's done or whatever, but I highly encourage those security cameras, if for nothing else, chief. It made it your fault, their fault, nobody's fault, that there's ever an accident pulling in or out of there or anything like that, you'll have it on recording. Or a theft or anything else, those cameras are worth their weight in gold if there's ever an accident or something. Alright, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And they aren't that expensive.
No, they're not. I put mine in my house myself, and it's highly inexpensive, especially if you do it yourself. So I think you put yours in.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, no problem.
Are we thinking about putting a street light at the entrance or no, or won't need one, or?
We may, and it'll be easy enough. Alliant is supposed to come hopefully tomorrow, and they're obviously swamped from the storm damage, but we need to move one pole, and then we also need to get the gas supply finished up for the station. And so, I mean, we know what streetlights are like, it's just X number of dollars a month if you wanna add one, so we can take a look at that for sure, but I think we wanna see what it looks like around there with those area lights on that are gonna be shining all the time anyway, before we say, yes, we want a light on that pole out there by the road, but
Isn't there one right across the street?
there could be, I guess I haven't looked. The poles are on the same side of the street,
Oh,
so
There's not one across.
there's not one right
We,
there.
I think I projected it in the original talk at the school, but do we know the exact address yet?
we had to change it, it should be 405.
405 Roosevelt
Yeah.
Street,
405 Roosevelt.
yeah. Yeah, cause they used the rural address on it
No,
first.
I
when-
did that,
or-
I didn't know there was a difference between a county and
Oh.
a city.
Yep, gotcha. Yeah.
Learned it well.
Alright, but we got it right now, so.
Other questions on the fire station?
We were just talking too, that obviously at this point we'll have to seed grass in the spring. But I'm pushing the dirt work guy to get everything to final grade as much as humanly possible this fall, so that when spring does break, I can get it seeded right away. And I will visit with Bluegrass this winter about sod and, in a couple areas and et cetera. So. Oh, I don't, when do you wanna talk about a plaque possibly for donors and et cetera?
Oh, for the interior of the fire station. I am, when we did the original talk, we talked about putting a plaque in there, either for donors or doing something in the memorial for donors or something like that. That's gonna be the pleasure of the council. I think at a minimum, there should be something in there that dedicates the building. I mean, a good majority of this building was paid for with bonds. And so, I think it's important that at least there's something in there that says, the building is dedicated to the people of, Alburnett or Otter Creek Township or both. There was a high investment in there. And gives the date and the time that the building was built. If you wanna recognize the city council and the staff and the chief and some of his senior staff or something, I think that would be nice too. It's not about people's names, it's about a building that's potentially gonna, well, look at the old building, it was built in Huh?
No, it was built in the 50s, but the fire department was established in 20.
Yeah, one side of it was built maybe in, I briefed on the days, I don't remember, but it's a facility that's potentially gonna be there for what, 70 years? Or longer. And, that's a couple generations of people that are not gonna remember who did what, when. So I think it's important that we have something in there, so when people take the tours, or kids take the tours, or they do whatever, they have an idea of when that was built and for who and why, so. I don't know, I'm open for discussion on that too, if you wanna.
Nothing else, it's just a topic that everybody can put a little thought to as to what might be appropriate, you know, and maybe Steve can talk about it at his next fire meeting too, with his crew.
This probably isn't a priority, but we ought to be starting to think about what we're gonna do with the old fire station.
I feel like, I'm hoping with the dumpster and with the move, that thing will be basically scoured clean when you guys are out of there, and we'll be able to assess it a lot better at that point. And then also by the time they're moved in, we're gonna know what our final cost really was too. So we would know, you know, I don't think we're gonna be in any kind of financial difficulty. We budgeted and planned for this, it should be fine, but that also might help us understand how we might go ahead doing something with that too. And maybe it's doing as little as selling it, or as much as turning it into City Hall, whatever, but.
Well, could be a discussion you could have with the group you're talking about for your long-term planning as well, too, so.
If you would get rid of that building, the noon whistle would go away probably,
Yeah, that's true too, the siren,
and the sign lights, get the
Yeah.
power out there for that.
yeah, the line sign would have to go. That is true. Lots of options.
Anything else for item C? Okay, well then that completes the business unless there's anything else. No, nothing else for C, anything else for? Okay, very good then. All right, we'll go over to vote, I'll start from the right. Councilman Trump.
Just glad to see the fire department's coming along. Congratulations, Charlie.
Thank
Been
you.
a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. It was a lot of work getting there, so I'm glad that part of it's over. Plus no more TV ads. I had no idea I was such a terrible person until like about a month out. All those mailings and everything, and I was like, oh man, I had no idea I did all this stuff. Never even been in the legislature and I voted on all that stuff. All right. All right.
That was almost a shame that I knew you.
Yeah. All these mailings come out, they're telling me all this stuff I was voting on and doing all this stuff, and I never stepped foot in the State House. Well, that's not true, I've been up there, but not as a legislator.
Seriously, congrats, glad you.
Thank you, good. Well, hopefully we can all meet in December and keep a tight agenda and get through Christmas, and that'll be it, and have a nice transition over to Bethany, well, at least as pro tem anyway, and then you all can decide what to do next. Councilman?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate that, thank you so much. Okay, guy? Chief? Anything else? Okay, then, I don't think I have anything else. Everybody stay safe and stay healthy, we're almost to the vaccine, so, we'll kinda get it from there. I did go, 18 minutes over an hour, but we had a big agenda. All right, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Trum and Bozenberg, first and second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you again. Have a good evening.